Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the Players Lounge, Tennessee. I'm Thomas Edwards, one of our hosts tonight with two of my good friends. I'm also in a different location. This may seem like a fake, one of those work from home backgrounds. That stuff's actually there. I'm at a farm right now, and it's 35 degrees outside, and I'm freezing cold. So I'm going to get my buddies on here, Josh Dobbs and Jack Jones, to talk to me and give me a little conversation and warm me up. Jack, Josh, how are we doing today?
What's up, Tom? Well, let's dive right into it, Tom. Why are you in the farm, and where is the farm?
Okay, great question, and I would love to answer it. I'm out here in my family farm, the farm I grew up going to every Sunday as a kid. Grew up going in this barn. Which direction is it? Yeah, right there. Grew up going to that barn, getting on top of that barn, throwing hay down that barn, working a little bit, playing a lot. But what I'm doing here now is I'm working on my first album as a music artist. Over the past couple weeks, I've been here writing music, playing with some of my family members, some of my close friends. And also I had a videographer here with us for the last week or so too. Just really kind of putting a camera behind the whole process and understanding all the work that goes into it, all the people that helped me to get to where I am with music, and really just wanted to come back home to the homestead, sit in the 35-degree weather, and just soak it all in, man.
Let's go. You give us a little scoop of when the album's dropping?
Hey, man, I don't want to put a date on anything. I'm shooting for this summer. This is where you shoot yourself in the foot. You keep pushing it back and back, but hopefully I don't have to push it back. I'm shooting for like June, July-ish. But this summer is what we're looking for. Just some summer feeling in there. It's got some good feel-good acoustic kind of. I get it. I would like to call it Jack Johnson meets Luke Combs. We'll call it Snack Johnson. Snack Johnson.
Snack. That's the look you got going on. Snack Johnson.
There we go. Snack. And my skin's turning red. What about you, Jack? What are you doing? Where are you at right now?
Man, reporting live from Las Vegas correspondents, getting ready for a big week out here. March Madness is coming to town. Really excited to cheer on the Vols and see if they can make a little run at this thing.
Let's go. You had a big couple weekends in Vegas, Jack. Talk to us about that, man. You spent some time with the Super Bowl Kings. You had a little Brett bachelor party. What else you been doing out there in the meantime, man?
Yeah, it's been a fun past couple weeks. Probably the most eventful month I've had since being in Vegas. A couple weeks ago, Trey Smith was out here with the Chiefs offense, and he invited me to tag along with them. So I was even telling Trey, I was like, Trey, are you sure, y'all need to celebrate as a team? I don't want to be that guy. But Trey was persistent. So I definitely indulged in that a little bit. Got to go out with those guys for a couple nights. And
wait, so when you say those guys,
yeah, give us some names.
Like the Chiefs offense, like you're talking like 30 people.
The guys of the guys, or
yeah, like I got to meet and hang out with Travis Kelce, Mahomes. Really got to kick it a lot with the Chiefs offensive line. Great dudes. They're obviously coming off a great performance in the Super Bowl, giving up 0 sacks to a pretty, going into that game, that was kind of the big question. Can they keep Patrick Mahomes healthy? Because he was battling a little bit of injury, but they kept him healthy. So they were riding that high, and just a great group of dudes. I really enjoyed it. Everything
it's kind of like if it was me, dude, I would have no choice but to be like, yeah, it was a great win. Walking around those guys.
Jack, are you signed to the team yet, is what Thomas is asking. Are you an official Chief yet for next offseason? Free agency, baby. Have they signed you?
We're in talks right now. I don't know if I want to give up my corporate lifestyle for that. But
yeah, I understand.
It was pretty cool because we'd like walk into somewhere, we'd go out, went and saw Rick Ross one night, and we're walking in, and they're, please welcome your Super Bowl champion. And I'm like in the middle of it, just like, yeah, we did it. But it was really fun. Trey's a really cool dude. I've always loved him. Recruited him when he was coming to Tennessee, and it was really cool of him to kind of, bring me along for that, because it was just such a unique opportunity. The Chiefs, they were great dudes, and then we got after a little bit, but it was a good time.
Yeah, dude.
I think talk about. I was going to say, talk about last week, and I saw you were hanging out with the MMA crew out in Vegas. Talk about that experience.
Yeah, so one of my good friends, a guy I went to college with, is a producer for Bussin' with the Boys. Shout out, no free shout out, Jack McPherson. He kind of the same thing. He invited me to kind of tag along with them a little bit over the weekend. They were out here helping promote the new slap boxing, which is insane, to be quite honest. But if you haven't checked it out, I definitely would. It is one of the most unique experiences in the sports world, I'd say. Right?
Dude, it's insane. People just get knocked out cold just in one huge slap, and they just go completely slumped immediately.
Yeah, and they get up and slap the guy back. Like, do you see the guy
they just wake up.
His head was just bulging out after getting slapped?
Yeah, I'm waving the flag. I'm waving the flag.
I don't know what the CTE protocol is going to be in that sport. They're definitely going to have some hurdles to go through there, but it was interesting to watch. And I think getting to hang with the Bussin' with the Boys guys, Taylor Lewan, Will Compton, great dudes. I really appreciated them letting me tag along a little bit. And dude, it was another awesome experience. I really do, but I really would recommend check out that slap boxing. It's definitely worth your time, and you will be entertained.
Who do y'all think wins in a slap boxing competition between
me,
you, Thomas, and you, Jack?
Me. Well, so the big thing about slap boxing isn't really like who can slap hard. I mean, it is at that point, but at that point, everybody can slap. It literally, the biggest indicator of who's going to win is who wins the coin toss. Like that is like
who gets the first slap.
Without a doubt, that is the biggest, that's the biggest advantage you have, is just the flip of the coin, which I
think I'd get you there. I think I'm going to win the coin toss, statistically more times than you.
And I thought through that, Thomas, when Josh asked the question, I thought through that Thomas wins. I still stand firmly that I would be able to take one and definitely deliver that knockout blow.
Oh man, no way.
Just look at the surface you have. I mean, I'm not missing.
The sun is peeking through the clouds right now too. Look at this. I look great.
It's the beard.
Would you slap this face? Even if you would slap this face, even if it was for sport. Look at this face.
I'd slap that face.
I would do it for not even sport, just for fun. But what I would say too is it's interesting you bring up the beards, Josh, because one of the guys that won this week was one of the top slappers, I guess is what you'd say. He has a huge beard, and I was sitting there thinking like,
that's padding.
That's a big, like, I think as the sport develops, if it doesn't get canceled, they're going to have a lot more people with beards competing, because it does give you that extra padding. And
no, it's going to be, they're going to all look like Wolverine. They're all going to have mutton chops like out to here. It's the only, nothing down here. Just all, it's like a extra padding.
Basically, what you guys are saying is I would not be a good slap boxing participant.
No, your head's gonna get rattled up pretty quick. You got no blow. You can't absorb the blow.
No padding.
No padding.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, you're not.
Next time.
All right, sweet. Let's go into let's talk a little March Madness. So March Madness for me is the best time of the year in sports. I mean, there's so many people that are like diehard sports fans that love it. And there's also just non-sports fans, the person at your work that fills out a bracket, and they beat you every year and then they rub it in your face every year. There's always that person. So, I mean, so many people can be involved in March Madness. So I think I got to give myself a little monologue here because I put all these thoughts together, and I just think that it's the reason why I like March Madness. So it's a time of the year where you justify that it's necessary to have 3 TVs in your living room, even though the other months we see far less multi-screen action. And it revives around August when, Scott Hansen comes back on TV for Red Zone. But usually, like if you're at my house, some of those TVs sit on the side table all summer, just waiting for their next chance. It's also the time of the year we remember that True TV is a television channel after searching through the guide with zero luck for half an hour. It's the time of the year where you fall in love with super fans like Sister Jean, a 90-plus-year-old woman still cheering on her team. Or if you're a Tennessee fan, you're disgusted with yourself because you find yourself despising her, and she's such a sweet lady. It's the time of the year where you hear announcers say effort guy or lunch pail guy or cerebral to describe every player that doesn't play in a Power 5 conference. It's the time of the year where we see teamwork displayed in full effect, raising the bar each game and playing the best basketball that you've seen all season. There's no time for games, no series, no best of 7, no best of 5. You got to play your best game each game. And it could be Colgate, it could be Duke, it could be Drake. I mean, who knows, man? Every team is bringing the money. They're bringing what
Drake
they got.
The school or Drake the rapper?
He's checking in for Kentucky. Drake the school. They're in the tournament this year. I was looking at them. So that's enough talking for me. Thanks for listening to that, guys. What do you guys think? First thoughts, March Madness. Who you like, Jack? Who's your favorite, outright favorite to win?
I'm not going to say. I mean, shoot, I don't want to like promote Alabama sports at all on this, but I do think their basketball team. I think they have a player on that team that is. He's kind of stands above everyone else. And I think in March Madness, you've got to have that guy that can step up whenever he needs to step up. I think they kind of showed their, dominance during the SEC tournament. So I do think Alabama will make a good run at it. I like Tennessee, to be honest with you. I know, losing our point guard was tough, but I feel like they kind of have everyone against them right now. As far as like, you hear a lot of the slander against Coach Barnes and not being able to get it done during March. But also this year, like, I feel like it's not as like the heavy favorites they're not there. Like, I feel like there could be a lot of sneaky teams that make runs throughout this tournament. So filling out my bracket, I definitely have a lot of dogs kind of, winning and making a couple runs, because I do think that is going to be is going to be really evident once these games start going, especially in the round of 64. Usually when those teams make runs that, those higher seeded teams, I do think they end up kind of fizzling out through the Sweet 16. But the first 2 rounds, I do think you're going to see some upsets, because I just don't think anybody, like, the consistency from the top seeds has not been there this year. I like UCLA as well. I think UCLA has a lot of guys that have been there before and they've made a run before. So they, that encourages me to kind of pull for them a little bit, as far as they have guys that have seen this and made this run. They have some veteran leaders on that team. So I would say the 2 teams I really think can make a strong run at it are probably Alabama and UCLA. But I think it's anyone's, it's March, man. Anything can happen, even more so this year. I feel like the top seeds really just haven't been consistent throughout the year, and anybody could go down.
I agree. Dobbs, what are you thinking?
Thank you, Jack. For me, I think this year the theme is the year of the upset. Just looking through the bracket, I haven't watched a lick of college basketball all year, but the Tennessee-Alabama game.
Let's go!
But it is the year of the upset. Tennessee, obviously, I'm always rolling with Tennessee, baby. Tennessee, we beat Louisiana Tech. We get past Duke, and then I think it's really our show from there. I think it's a downhill bracket if we get past the first 2 rounds, which have been our kryptonite the last couple of years. I'm looking at this
I agree.
bracket. I see Alabama riding. They're riding high after the SEC tournament. They got a lot of stuff going on off the court. I see them losing in the first round. Get them out of here.
Get them out of here.
Get them out of here. I see them losing in the first round. I think, I think the 2 seed takes over. I think Arizona kind of wins that top bracket. Tennessee might pull it out the East, and it might be our show. To Jack's point, there's really no clear favorite. A lot of the top seeds are different names. A lot of the top programs have had down years. UNC is not even in the bracket. Kentucky was down throughout the year. Duke had a down year. So it's really anyone's game. It's definitely the year of the upset. So if you're making your bracket, I would pick more upsets than higher seeds throughout the March Madness picks. But I'll submit my bracket. I'll let you guys see. I think obviously, I got to roll my balls. Jack's over here picking Alabama. What are we doing? Balls, baby. Go Vols, baby.
I appreciate the real basketball, but also I appreciate the diehard too. But here's some stats about that, dude. 20% of brackets have Alabama in the national championship game. 20%. So also
ruined 20%.
And listen to
First
this.
round,
over
baby.
half the people have Alabama in the Elite Eight, and we know what happens if this was people betting and that was a distribution of gambling money,
paid the public.
That's usually a bad thing. You know, I could see Alabama out in the first round just because of those two percentages. Also, you mentioned Duke having to win. We having to play Duke. Duke is up against Oral Roberts, who just won their last 17 games in a row, and they are on fire. And
they're good for an upset every year.
I know. And the only thing I'm scared about, though, is if they come in the tournament and we win our first game and Oral Roberts just squeaks one out against Duke and they're 18 in a row, I think we're going to find a new Sister Jean. That's my only worry.
I'm worried more about Purdue because we've ran into them before. And
when would we have to play them?
I think the third round is when we'd play them. And they've had our number before. That's what scares me about.
One seed too, yeah.
That's what scares me about for Tennessee. I mean, after those first two games, it's definitely going to be, challenging to get back past that Purdue team who's given us some trouble in the past. But
I mean, Indiana could be a sleeper too as well. They've been playing good ball.
You just hate losing a guy like Zakai going into the tournament because that kid is a tournament. He would I don't care what anybody says, that he would have balled out on tournament TV. That's just in his nature. And I feel like he's the lifeblood of our team. So that's probably my biggest, Tennessee's deep, man. They could make a run, but losing Zakai, kind of the lifeblood, I think that's going to be a tough obstacle to overcome. But we got some veteran players. We got a good crew. It would be fun to see what happens.
All right, so
where will you be watching, Jack?
Yeah, there we go.
Go ahead, Tom.
That's a good question, Jack. So you're in the Mecca. Yeah, where are you going to check it out?
I'm in correspondent who's on the ground.
Correspondent on the ground. I'll probably move around a little bit, but Circa and Old Las Vegas is one of my favorite spots. It's a newer casino. They have the biggest sports book in Vegas, and they also have a stadium swim. So last year I went out there, went out to the pool. The weather was a little better, and I mean, there's nothing like.
Well, there's nothing like swimming and watching the game at the same time.
And during March Madness, I mean, literally.
Okay, no answer.
I remember looking around last year and seeing and being like, "There are 0 girls here." I mean, it is like 3,000 guys doing the Wolf of Wall Street.
Guys bumping each other outside of the pool.
And when the crowd is heavy on one team is the best because then you're all just kind of in it together. So I love that community. That's what I love about going to sports.
Are you in the pool together or in the bet together? Which one? Or both?
I'd like to say both. I hope for both going into it, but if you can only be in the bet together, that's okay.
Hey, big guys. Hey, I love a good pool party where people are in the pool, man. Gotta love it. Especially in the desert, man. If it's hot out there and people are just hanging out outside the pool, I gotta get in, man.
Absolutely.
I gotta get in. It's not. So if you guys had one Cinderella to pick this year, who's that team that's the 13, 14, 15, 16 seed? For me, I'll start us off. I'll give you time to think. For me, it's Colgate. So they play Texas game 1. Colgate is the best three-point shooting team in the country at 41%. And that is a team that could just come in there, put it all on the toothbrush, Colgate style, and absolutely wipe the floor with Texas. Shoot 45% from three. I'm sure they'll jack them up the whole game. That's my team I'm watching, Colgate. What about you guys? Dobbs, what are you thinking?
For me, I got to go with the Ivy, the school I almost went to, Princeton, baby. They got Arizona in the first round. Princeton's 0-0 versus top 25 ranked team. Arizona's 6-1. Their BPI, Arizona's 10th. Princeton's 117th. Princeton's 10-4 in the conference. I think they have a chance. They beat Arizona now, they could go for a run. After that, they would have to beat the winner of Utah, Missouri. That game could be up for grabs, and then it could be downhill from there. So I'm gonna go with my team from up north.
Princeton. You're going to go with Princeton
Tigers,
the first
baby.
team the first team in conference tournament history to wear rec specs across all 5 starters.
Don't make fun of the Princeton
Wow, that
Tigers.
was a bad joke. Sorry, Jack. Who do you got? Who's your Cinderella?
I don't necessarily have a Cinderella, but I have a couple written down here. I think I don't know. I don't know who I'm going to pick because I have a couple of like mid-seeded teams, like 9, 10, like seeded teams. Like I think there's going to be a couple of 8, 9, and 10 seeded teams in the Sweet 16. So I don't know. I don't exactly know. There's a couple of teams, but I don't want to give the people some insight that they're going to follow because I'm not really sure. I do think it's going to be hectic, and I haven't watched it. I haven't watched.
You're right. You have a reputation to preserve as our Vegas correspondent. You know,
yes, as the Vegas correspondent, I have a right to preserve my pick, but also I haven't watched a lot of these like higher seeded teams play, so I'm not going to be putting a lot of my money on a big upset. I'm definitely going to be spending my time around the 8, 9, 10 seed teams to be my dogs and get a little bit of that plus money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, so I think it's the general consensus is none of us know anything about college basketball, but we love this time of year because I don't know much.
I'll tell you in a week.
Yeah, you're right. You got to. This is where you kind of get up to speed and you read all those like ESPN tournament little insights. Like this, just be on a heads up too. Like when you go talk to someone and they're like, you see what a Colgate looks like, they're probably just going to recite to you the little blurb of information that's in the ESPN tournament app that you press the little button.
That's what.
No one knows.
I'll probably go to a sports book and look for an older man reading the newspaper and just start talking to him and be like, "Do you watch college basketball?" And he'll be like, "Yeah." And you're like, "Well, who do you like?"
I've been coming here for years.
And he'll be like, "Who do you like today, you older, trustworthy gentleman?" And he'll be like, blah, 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 blah. And then I'll immediately go to the ticket counter and place all those bets because I'm a rider. I'm a rider at the end of the day.
Yeah. You let us know how that goes, Shaq. Yeah, you let us know how that goes.
Let me know how the strategy works. We're all strategy here. All right, fellas, we've been talking for a minute. I'm going to wrap up with one thing, though. In college, I lived with Josh over here, and I actually lived with Jack a couple of years after that. But Dobbs wanted a cat leopard in college. It was a kind of a mixture of a cat and a cat of prey or a predator cat. What are they called? Big cats.
Cheetah.
So yeah, it's a cheetah and a domestic cat mixed. Okay, there we go. He kept would send us pictures and say we should get this pet. I was looking on the news today and there was a very strange news segment today that came out. A serval cat, it's a hybrid between it's kind of same deal, a domestic and a cheetah. In Cincinnati, they found this let me back up. In Cincinnati, this serval cat escaped from his house. It was privately owned as an exotic pet. And that's probably the size of a real cheetah. And found missing. And then they found him, and it was on drugs. It was tested positive in a toxicology report for cocaine. So conveniently after the release of the movie Cocaine Bear hit the movie theaters the last month or so, this has happened again in Cincinnati. And this time it's a cheetah. So I was kind of doing a little digging into this. I was like, when an animal is missing, why is their first kind of thing they're doing a toxicology report? Like it's an alive animal. And as soon as they get it back into custody, they're testing it for PEDs. And the reason is a year prior to this, in Cincinnati, there was a monkey that escaped and it was like erratic and going crazy. And they did a toxicology report on him, and they found dozens of drugs in the system. So this has nothing to do with anything we're talking about. It was just blowing my mind that there's so many instances where animals are in the wild, released, or they stumble upon drugs, they just get into them. For the
record, I wasn't going to give our cat leopard drugs in college. Everyone, okay?
I was coming full circle with this. Okay. Do you think if we would have gotten that in college, do you think that was actually a good idea to get a hybrid domestic cat mixed with a cheetah as a pet?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't the size of a cheetah, the one that we were going to get. It was the size of a cat. It just had patterns on it that were cheetah-like patterns. So it looked like a cheetah, but like a baby cheetah, but in cat form. And it looked sick. I think that would have been a really cool pet for people to come over and be like, "Hey, what's your pet, your college pet?" Boom, cat leopard. No one's topping that. No one's topping
I guess you're right. I mean, again, I guess you're right, but still, I mean, I feel like it's definitely one of the like if we got a cat leopard, now that I know if he ever gets out, it's going to get a drug test because this last one got a. I don't even know where I'm trying to go with this. We honestly could cut this entire part out of this entire story because
We'll just make sure we get a sober cat leopard. Okay.
I have a question.
He won't be in rehab.
Yeah, you're right. What's up?
I have a question off topic for Josh. Going into the combine and everything like that, who do you think from the Vols team this past year is going to be drafted the highest?
Probably Jalen Hyatt or the offensive tackle that's in the draft, one or the other. Obviously, I think Tennessee's offensive line played really well this year, which obviously if you're coming out in the draft this year, you had a really good chance of going high. And then Jalen, even like Trey was talking about, hopefully he gets drafted to Kansas City. And then Jalen, I mean, obviously he had a great year, first Biletnikoff winner for the school, extreme talent on the perimeter. So I think one or the other. I'm excited to see where the Vols go though this year in the draft.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited for both of those dudes. They deserve
Darnell.
Darnell deserves it, man. He's helped rebuild that offensive line and has been just a solid tackle for us the past couple of years. So I'm excited for him. I'm glad he did so well too in the Reese's Senior Bowl that you actually played in too, Josh. I think he received honors for like top O lineman of the week, which was really cool to see.
Yeah, that's always cool to see when after people leave UT and you go. That's like the first time where you get a real glimpse of like going up against people that are going to be playing on Sundays for sure, and to see them coming on the other side of it, dude. And Darnell, he was 330 something pounds and ran a 5:01 40. I mean, he's like the sixth dude in like the last 15 years to do that or something like that. Like just one of those sneaky stats, but it just shows an O lineman's athletic ability. If he's running 5:01 with 330 pounds on him, like he's moving, man. That's an athlete.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see him.
He's a plug and play right tackle in the league for sure, which is really cool to see. I mean, there's not a lot of guys I would say that about, but just off watching him, I think he's a day one guy. So I'm excited for him to see what he does.
No doubt. Well, I got a feral cat, not a non-cat leopard, just like an actual domestic cat is around me right now. It's kind of freaking me out because there's just so many cats here because it's like an actual farm. But it's freaking me out. All right. I think that'll wrap us up. I mean, we had a wide variety of topics. We talked March Madness. We talked Vegas with our correspondent on the ground, Jack Jones. We talked a lot of different stuff. Talked about cat leopards, the worst choice for a college pet that we never got. So who knows? So I guess we can wrap it up there. What you got, Jack?
We can wrap it up, but I would like to ask: do y'all have a moment over your lifetime, a March Madness moment that you? Because I know the one I'm thinking of, but do you have a moment or like a player or a team that got hot that you remember from the history of March Madness since you've been growing up that really like is that like I have my guy. I'll tell y'all. I'll ask y'all first. Is there any moment in which y'all have of March Madness that you remember watching as a kid or watching a certain player and really starting to pull for him? For me, it was George Mason when they made their run to the Final Four. That was awesome.
Hey, I gotta get off real quick.
See ya.
All right, word. I'll answer this one, then we can wrap it.
I'll wrap us up today. Thank you for joining us for another edition of the Players Lounge with our host and great friend, Thomas Edwards, alongside my compadre, Josh Dobbs. This is your Vegas correspondent, Boots on the Ground, signing off.